Hey everybody, it's Shiny here, and I am in a Kiowa in an OH-58. I'm on the Germany map, and I am at a base, I think FRG 38 is where I'm at. And let me go ahead and pause this for a second. So I'm on a little proof of concept tester mission. Um, so actually, I have another mission that I'm finishing for the Danger Close group, and we're going to have that mission starting this Saturday. That's a different mission, but here a few days ago, I got an idea in my head, and I just started playing with this. So this is kind of like I said, a proof of concept tester for that situation. What my idea is, a totally different kind of mission from my normal multiplayer missions, which are, going through a series of target areas. And the one that coming this Saturday is actually quite a longer mission with a lot of, basically, capture points, capturing the different bases and air bases. More than my usual mission, even. So quite a longer mission. More like in the way of a foothold style mission, as far as like going from, capturing and getting new spawns as you go along and kind of pushing eastward on the map. So, anyway, but this idea, what I'm thinking about right now, is after that, I want to make this mission, which is going to be totally different. So there's not going to be other target areas. We're not going to go through a series of those and advance along that. This is just one ongoing battle is what we're going to have, right? So somewhere here, I don't know if this is going to exactly be the location of the mission and the battle in the final mission. Like I said, this is just a tester. But maybe this might be the same area. So here on the road between Fulda and Frankfurt, right? So where the Red Army is coming in and pushing down toward Frankfurt. So on the way, on that road, we have a battle. I mean, we have a big battle, heavy armor versus heavy armor. And we're going to clash around a smaller, village, small city, town, not a big city, not like in Frankfurt, but a smaller place with a lot of open ground and still like a medium-sized town there. And the whole mission is going to be that battle. And, the blue players or the red players, of course, almost all my missions are PvP, although we usually have mostly just blue players. But it's going to be close air support, supporting our armored units, and trying to help them and take the enemy off the field, and also interdiction behind enemy lines. So the way it's going to work, because I don't want to have to make a million different groups that have to activate at different times during the mission. So the concept of the mission is going to be using respawn, right? So we're going to kind of cycle these a certain amount of groups, because again, for mission performance, I don't want to have like a million units out there doing stuff. So we're going to have a certain number of groups on red and blue, and they're going to cycle. So once that group is killed, they will respawn. But in the real mission, they're not going to respawn right away. They're going to respawn in some timeline. Like it might be 10 minutes later, it might be 15 minutes later, something like that. It could even depend on units being in or not being in a certain zone. Whatever. I'm going to work that out based on the timing and the pacing that I want, because I want the mission to have a certain pace. I don't want like everything to be happening at once. I want, it's going to be a continuous trickle of action, right? You want to have not big low points when there's nothing happening. You want a continuous trickle of action with some high points at certain intervals. So anyway, we're going to be using respawn to cycle units. They're not like in this tester, they're just starting right here on the edge of the field. But in the real mission, the units are going to start back a certain way, because there's going to be a certain rear area where either side could do interdiction and try to catch those units before they get to the main field of battle. And there's also going to be in the rear area some artillery and other air defense things like that. But anyway, yeah, so when you kill a group, it's going to respawn, it's going to come back, because the point is to keep the battle going, right? It's not a, kill this group, kill that group, oh, mission accomplished. No, I don't want that. Like, the Red Army is big, right? But I'm not going to put 1,000,000 units on the mission active at once, because that hurts performance. So we just want so many groups always reactivating and coming into the battle space to keep us busy, basically. I mean, that's the point, right? You want to have, I want the environment to be action-packed and exciting, because, there's explosions and tanks are blowing up and stuff is happening. It's a busy, active battlefield. Whether you're in a helicopter, which is especially good for, or, of course, whether you're in fixed wing, doing close air support overhead, or interdicting moving groups coming from the rear areas. So I'm really excited about how this mission is going to be eventually. Anyway, the other thing with the mission is there's going to be kind of a scoreboard. There's going to be kind of a rectangle split into 4 zones, 4 sectors, like 4 boxes. And those are going to be color-coded so that, if it's red, that means the red units are, controlling that sector. There's no blue units. If it's blue, the blue units are controlling that sector. There's no red units. If it's purple, it's contested. Both groups are currently fighting in that sector, or maybe if it's yellow, that sector is currently empty. And of course, the idea will be to help our forces to push the red forces out and keep the blue forces in control of those sectors. And I might even manage to put in a kind of a scoring system, if I can figure out exactly how I want to do that. And another important thing that I just figured out today is, this is probably boring just looking at this map, so we'll come back into the helicopter here. Another thing that I figured out today is, I thought about when we keep recycling these units and they keep, fighting in this one area, of course you get a lot of dead units. You get a lot of carcasses of tanks and BMPs and stuff, and I don't want those to continuously accumulate. So with Moose and the Moose scripting, there's a subscript for that, a cleanup script. So we can run the cleanup script, and that will remove all of the dead units in a certain zone. So I can program that to work periodically, like every 30 minutes would probably be a good idea. About every 30 minutes, the cleanup script runs. It cleans away all the dead units, dead tanks, dead BMPs. So our battlefield, even though it would go on for hours and hours, the battlefield is not going to be covered with 1,000,000 dead units, right? So, like I said, I'm excited about it. What we'll do now is we'll take the OH-58 down here to the battle area, and we'll get a feeling for it, and we'll help our blue forces to take out some of these tanks, and we'll check out the action. So the blue forces are coming from the south, the red forces are coming from the north. So we will kind of swing around a little bit more to the south, so we'll be a little bit more behind the blue forces to engage the red forces. So another thing in this mission, what's going to be really important and a little more challenging, because in most of the missions that I have, and even most missions you fly in DCS, you don't often get so many intermingled units, but in this mission, identification is going to be important, right? You're going to have to pay attention, and whether you're flying in a F-16 or a Tomcat or a Hornet looking down in your pod, or whether you're in a helicopter, you're going to have to pay attention to who you're targeting, who you're shooting. You got to know the difference between what a T-72 or a T-80 looks like, and what an M1 looks like and things like that. So we have to recognize the blue and red units. Okay, anyway, I talked a lot about that. Let's go down here to the battlefield, and we'll help our guys out. So I think I already have everything pretty much set up. I'm just going to leave my Hellfires on 1688 since I'm the only one in here, as this is just single player, and there's no other JTAC or anything using that frequency. So we're going to get up there. We're only 11.3 kilometers away. One reason that I might use the same location in the real mission is because this base that I'm at right now has six helipads, and it's really a very convenient distance from where I set up this battlefield. So that might be a good location even in the real mission. I might keep that, because that's a really if there's going to be a lot of helicopter action, it's convenient to have them based quite close to the front lines. And then also in the mission, we're going to have plenty of, even if there's no red players on, we'll have plenty of red air. So there's going to be, a lot of red helicopters and Su-25s and stuff doing their own CAS, trying to target our blue units, both on the battlefield and behind the front lines. And as well as there'll be, red cap coming over, trying to get some air superiority. So, I think it can be quite an action-packed mission, even though we're not jumping around the map. We're just focused on one area, which feels just more realistic to me. Battles don't take 1 hour. I mean, sometimes some big action, some big event may be very quick. But as far as like armies, as we can see in Ukraine, like front lines don't always move that fast. So the same area can stay contested for quite a long time, and that's what I want to do in this mission. And by having that battle just ongoing, I think that just creates a cool atmosphere. It creates a different feeling. All right, let me. I don't really need that, but I'm just gonna get that ready in there anyway. So, like I said, I'm trying to swing down a little bit more to the south, so that I approach from an angle where I can see the red units coming, and that I'm going to stay out of their range and not get lasered. We can see, I think that's a radar tower. Actually, I haven't seen over there. I'm not sure. We could see some smoke over there before. Start to pick up. So yeah, those are smoke columns, right? This is the radar tower. Okay, so those missiles are not for me. I'm not getting lasered. Those missiles are missiles coming from the Russian tanks toward the blue units. I think in the real mission I am going to nerf the missiles that the Russian tanks have, because it's kind of ridiculous. And put that on. I might leave him one. I might leave him one missile total, but put them on a more even ground. Okay. So I'm 7.5 from the waypoint, which is in the middle of this town on the battlefield. Over torquing my engine. Let's go ahead and pick up so we get a good view of the battlefield, and I'm continuously over torquing that damn engine. I see things exploding up there. I want to lift up a little higher and get a good view, and then we're going to start targeting some of these reds. start to slow it down. We'll get into a hover and help our boys out. Yeah, those missiles on the Russian tanks are a little ridiculous.
Alright, let's see if I can pick up a stable hover.
Alright, so let's look and see what we see here. So we see right now a lot of burning hulks. I think I have that even set up right now on a F10 button, so I can show you that cleanup as well. Okay, we have some units rolling over here. Let's see what they are. Looks like it's going to be, yeah, this is the blue forces. Those are M1s and M2s. Where are the red forces? The red forces are coming out of these roads in the woods up here. Ah! There's some dead units that have been killed already. So they might have respawned, and we have maybe new units coming out up here. In fact, almost, that's what I think for sure. The red tanks are probably getting ready to emerge out of that field. Yep. There we go. Right there. We have our first victims just coming out of that tree line.
Roger that.
So we're going to go ahead and go to our Hellfires here. Get those ready. And see what the distance is. This is about 6,500 meters. As these guys come out. I lost him behind the tree. So I'd be wary of that tree that they go behind. Let's wait till the first target comes out from behind that tree. Okay, we're going to track that guy. And we're going to go ahead and rifle on him. And you know what? It helps when you turn your master arm on. And rifle. And he's going to go behind the tree too. So I'm probably going to lose that point track. But that's alright. I'm going to get it back. While that Hellfire's in the air, it should be okay. Alright, there we go. Shack BMP. Okay. Rifle again. Another tank coming up on his side. With those missiles the Russian tanks have, it gives them a bit of a distance advantage that, you know, I don't think you'd really see with T-80s or T-72s versus M1s. Oh, shoot. Okay. Rifle again. Just a hair. That's a hit on him. See, that's a BDT. See, there's tanks that I see right there. Those are dead. There's one guy left here. I gotta see him again. I can't see him because of the smoke. There he is. There he is. Rifle. That last tank that I hit, I'm sure he'll cook off in a minute. I'm gonna lose this guy behind the tree. There we go. Reacquired. Ah, okay, Shaq. Nice. Alright, now while I hover here, let me show you something. Let's go out to... And you can see right here, we got blue units coming through town. We got the remainders of this blue group, where we just finished off this red group, so they respawned in the forest and they're coming back out. Like I said, in the real mission, they're not going to come. They're not going to come right from the edge of the battlefield. They're going to come from further back, which is going to give us a chance to interdict them. It's also going to give some better control over the pacing of the battle. But anyway, I want to come in here and look at these dead units. So yeah, you're going to get a lot of this in a continuous battle. You're going to get all these dead tanks and dead armored vehicles. But I'm going to use this script in the mission, which I have programmed up here. So the cleanup script, it'll get rid of those tanks, those dead vehicles for us. Boom, right? So the fire is going to remain until that burns out, but we just got rid of all those dead units on the battlefield. So we can run that script every 30 minutes or so and keep things not looking like a junkyard out here. Oh, some fighting going on over here. So I think just like having this like active battle, with guns, and we're gonna have artillery also in this. I think it just creates a different mood, right? A more realistic vibe, a more exciting feeling. I'm pretty excited and stoked about this mission. To be honest, I didn't get to sleep very early the other night when I started thinking about this. I was trying to go to sleep, and I just kept thinking of how I was going to set this up. Whew. M2s are earning their pay there. Very nice. Alright, but you know what here? Let's go back. I turn the video screen off on that. When I'm flying, just flying.
You have the control.
Let's get back to our base, and we'll land there. Oh, I guess I didn't put in the waypoint for the base, but it's right this direction that I'm going, to the north. So anyway, like I said, it's a proof of concept there. I think this mission will be really fun for helicopters for sure. I think it'll also be just as fun for fixed wing, because they'll have cap to do, and they'll have enemy aircraft coming in to attack. Plus, they can also do close air support. Definitely, it'll be a good thing for A-10s. And again, your Tomcats, your Hornets, your Vipers, your Strike Eagles, all of them with a pod flying overhead, targeting enemy tanks. Interdicting behind enemy lines, looking for the red artillery, right? So still, even if you're not moving around the map, even if it's kind of a fixed location, there's going to be tons of stuff to do. And with units, respawning and respawning on certain timings, it's just going to keep it active, You don't just kill a group and, you're done. You're done with that section. You're done with that waypoint, The Red Army is big, right? That's the point. There's a lot of Russian tanks. They're going to keep coming. Okay? They're not going to stop after you killed, 20 tanks. So yeah, I think it'd be a fun mission. I think it'll be challenging in that you have to really pay attention, especially if you're in an aircraft overhead using your pod and you don't have the perfect visibility. Making sure you're not targeting blue units, avoiding blue on blue. Now, if you're in a Tomcat or an Apache, if you have Jester or George, it definitely helps you out because they'll help you to not target blue units. So that's kind of a little advantage of the AI there. If you're in a Hornet or a Viper, you have to look closely in your pod for yourself. Another thing that will be really great on this mission is I'm not going to have any overhead JTAC because I think it would be cooler to have just let's put in a JTAC with the Chinook. Let's just put in a JTAC through a CTLD. Let's put in a JTAC and set it somewhere where it can see the battlefield, and then that can help us out. That can laze some targets for maybe Hornets coming in with laser Mavs or Harriers coming in with laser Mavericks. And then also the helicopter I'm in right now, the Kiowa. Let's do that job. The Kiowa's not there just to shoot a few Hellfires. Let's do some scouting. Let's just laze targets. Have our buddies come in a Hornet with laser Mavericks, and let's have the Kiowa out there lasing targets. And let's do some teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, so they say. And then, of course, the Apache can do some great close air support in that. Now, I haven't decided how far behind enemy lines I'm going to put stuff. The distances, For example, if I use this same location, I might put some blue artillery right outside this base. And what's going to cause the artillery to fire, one thing can be based on triggers, based on units entering a certain zone, and that to trigger the artillery to fire on that spot. But I also have a nice artillery script. Oh, it's not the Karsten Girk script. It's not the one that's more automatic. It's one where you can use a spotting helicopter. I could set the Kiowa up, and then you can go out and spot for the artillery, but you have to enter the grid coordinates and everything like that. So I could use that script also and have that as being one of the things you can do in the mission is artillery spotting, which I might add that in, even if not in the beginning. I might add that in at some point. But yeah, this location would be good because this base is at a very, very convenient place. Oh, why on the Kiowa do I always get wobbly right when I'm about 2 feet off the ground? I can come in really nice and lovely, and then when I'm 2 feet off the ground, I start to get wobbly. Yeah, that's an annoying thing. But that's not the helicopter, that's just me. It's just my flying. Smooth until the last second. Let's see. Let's go back, before we end this, let's go back and see how things are going here on the battlefield. Oof. So we have this column moving through the town, moving through this lovely little German town, moving by the cathedral, firing away. The AI does have very better visibility than is possible, that they can see those guys when they're in the middle of the town, but yeah, we'll let that slide. They're coming down doing their thing. We have the Russian forces here, line abreast, coming down this slight incline where they came out of the forest. They're looking to run into those blue tanks that are coming through the city right now. We have this one lonely. Oh, whoops. One lonely BMP sitting out here by himself, bravely fighting the blue horde. Oof. Brave guy. And we have our M1s in this column coming up the hill. They've already taken some hits. Again, it says Russian missiles. I think that's doing the dirty work there. You know, this is one thing that I don't quite get, is why the ground units, particularly tanks, never seem to have... I'm never hearing their engine sound. I don't know if everybody else gets that too. We hear their weapons and their guns sound just fine, but I just don't hear much of a rumble of their engine like we should. And that goes for, I think, the Russian tanks, the American tanks. It's a ground vehicle thing. Okay, anyway, on that note, guys, I want to call that a video. I just wanted to talk about this mission idea I had and give a little demonstration of what that's going to be like. So anyway, that is all. I will see you guys on the next one.